My name is James, the son of Zebedee. And I want to say right from the start that all this was my brother's idea. My brother's name is John. John and I go way back with Jesus. We've been with him from the very beginning. So when Jesus started talking about the coming of the kingdom, John began to wonder who would sit on Jesus's right and who on his left when he ruled. The way John saw it, there were 12 disciples and 12 tribes of Israel. That meant that each of us disciples would help judge one tribe with Jesus looking on. We would be a council of rulers with Jesus in the center as supreme. But this meant that there would be 2 seats of honor on either side of Jesus. Why shouldn't those seats be ours? Given how long we've been with him, John was sure that Jesus would agree. It was just a matter of being firm, he said. John wasn't so sure about the rest of the disciples, so we decided to wait until Jesus was alone before we asked him. No one's ever accused John of a lack of firmness, so we agreed that he would be the one to raise the question. Teacher, he said, we want you to do for us whatever we ask. No one ever accused John of being overly tactful either, and I winced as he said this. But if Jesus was offended, he didn't show it. Instead, he simply held our gaze. What is it you want me to do for you? He asked. Grant us to sit one on your right and one on your left, John demanded. There, we'd said it. And yet suddenly it seemed all wrong. In some way I couldn't identify, I sensed that we had let Jesus down. All at once, too embarrassed to look at him, I stared at the ground. A moment passed, then another. I peeked at John. To my amazement, I found that he was staring at the ground too. Finally, I stole a glance at Jesus. As long as I live, I'll never forget the expression on his face right then. What I expected to see was anger. Instead, he stood with eyes closed and brow furrowed as if in pain. Then, an instant later, his forehead cleared and he opened his eyes. As he did, the look he turned to us was one of complete acceptance. You don't know what you're asking, Jesus said quietly. Are you able to drink the cup that I drink, or be baptized with the baptism that I'm baptized with? The words cut right through me, and suddenly it was my turn to speak. Yes, I blurted out. Yes, we are able. I have no idea why I said this. Already I could see that sitting on Jesus's right or left wasn't what we'd thought it would be. In that moment, that didn't matter though. Suddenly, all I cared about was that acceptance I had seen in Jesus's eyes. That acceptance meant everything to me. It meant everything because Jesus meant everything to me. So that the only thing I wanted right then was to be close to him, to be near to him for all eternity. Drink the cup that he'd drink? Yes. To be near him, I'd do that. Be baptized with his baptism? Yes. To be near him, I'd do that too. I mean, how bad could it be? Well, in the days ahead, I'd find out how bad it could be. Since then, many years have gone by. But I've never forgotten my promise. It's come to haunt me. It haunts me in part because I now realize how mistaken John and I were about Jesus. Jesus didn't come to be a ruler. He came to be our companion, our brother, our friend. He also didn't come to judge us. He came to love us and to teach us to love each other. It also haunts me because I think I've only slowly begun to realize what Jesus meant by the cup he had to drink. Yes, they killed him. And of course, that was much of what he meant. But before they killed him, they also rejected him. And before they rejected him, they mocked him. And before they mocked him, they isolated him. And all that too was part of the cup that he had to drink. I've even suspected at times that in the end, all that may have hurt Jesus even more than that final act of crucifixion. But perhaps there were moments more painful even than these. Recently, I've begun to think so. And you know what moments I think those were? I think they're the times when those of us who were closest to Jesus let him down. Moments like the one I just described, when my brother John and I came to him and could think only of ourselves. Moments when we revealed that all along we had seen him mainly as a means to power and prestige. How often we, his friends and disciples, let him down like that. We failed to do what he asked. We misunderstood what he said. We insulted people who were trying to help, who he was trying to help. And finally, we abandoned him when he needed us most. In other words, we hurt him. We hurt him deeply, and we hurt him often. And yet never once did he turn away from us. Never once did he give us anything less than his complete support. Talk about unconditional love. But as Jesus well knew, all love has its price. And for unconditional love, that price is very, very high indeed. Even so, he willingly paid it. He paid it with his blood, for one thing. But in other ways, too, he paid it also with the inner cost that comes with never giving up on people, never failing to give support, even of those who failed to give support to him. This too was part of the cup that he had to drink. Are you able to drink the cup that I drink? Jesus asked me. How quickly I said yes. Now I often ask myself, can I really do this? Can I really drink that cup? Can I really love as he loved? Then pay the price of that love? The answer is always the same. Only with God's help. What other answer do I have? What other answer do any of us have? Amen.